All right, Shalom Akim. I have a little update on the lesson on the strangers, cause did a lesson on the strangers about a couple of weeks back, and we went through the scriptures and show you the difference, in the Hebrew between the natural strangers, which is Nakarya and Zawar, and the unnatural strangers, which were Israelite foreigners, which the term there was gar, which meant sojourner. So now, in that lesson, I mentioned that First Kings, the 8th chapter, and the 41st verse, in that book of First Kings, the 8th chapter, this prayer that King Solomon prayed was actually a future prayer. It was for the future. If anything were to occur to Israel, and they prayed to the Most High, if they fall away, if they pray to the Most High, then here in heaven, here in heaven, and bless them, and deliver them from whatever situation they may be in, right? And then it goes on, to speak about a stranger that is not of thy people Israel. And I said it's my personal belief that this word Nakarya for stranger there should not have been there. Should have been the word gar, which means sojourner. And now when you read it, I'll read it and then we'll go into it. This is 1 Kings 8:41. It says, Moreover, concerning a stranger that is not of thy people Israel, but cometh out of a far country for thy name's sake. And I had mentioned that this was talking about an Israelite foreigner, and the reason why it used the word of an actual stranger is because they inserted it in there. Because of the fact that it doesn't make sense that there's only, out of all the scriptures when you read them, there's only maybe 3 places where it bestows favor upon these heathens, the real heathens, and that's not the case. We know that only Israel is going to be delivered. So I did mention that the word that should have been here is gar, okay. But now, like I said, this is a future prophecy. This is a future prayer that King Solomon prayed for these particular strangers, which were Israelites. Now, let's say the case was that the word is actually stranger, nakar, as we see it there. Let's say that's the actual word that should be there. All right. Now, I'll read this again, and we're going to go through some other precepts just to show you that if they didn't insert this word here in this particular verse, then I'm going to show you other scriptures that prove that this is talking about Israelite foreigners, if the case be that this word is actually here. But it's my personal belief that the word there is gar, which means sojourner, which is an Israelite foreigner. But let me read this again and let's go through this lesson. It's going to be a quick lesson. Moreover, concerning 1 Kings 8:41, moreover, concerning a stranger that is not of thy people Israel, but cometh out of a far country for thy name's sake. All right, so this is actually talking about an Israelite foreigner. All right, but let's deal with this word nakarya. All right, I'm going to show you that this particular word here, even though it does mean heathen, there's certain times when it can apply to an Israelite, and I'm going to show you that. This is Genesis 42:7. And Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them, but made himself strange unto them, and spake roughly unto them. And he said unto them, Whence come ye? And they said, From the land of Canaan, to buy food. So it said that Joseph made himself strange unto his brethren, right? And what do you have here? Wayatha nakar. Wayatha nakar. And he strange. So he made himself strange. So this is an Israelite that made himself act like a stranger, like a real heathen to his brothers. So it is possible that Israel can become strange. All right. So if, like I said, if the case be that word nakar is actually there, this is talking about an Israelite foreigner, in the future that became strange. And I'm gonna show you that. This is one example with Joseph, right? Now this is another example. Psalm 69:8. I am become a stranger unto my brethren, and an alien unto my mother's children. This is King David speaking, right? Praying to the Most High. Now what do you have there for the word stranger? Here it says wazar, which should have been zawar. All right, this is an actual stranger also, zawar. And then what do you have here? Nakarya. Nakarya, which is what? An alien or a stranger. So basically he said he became a stranger, an alien to his own brothers and to his mother's children. So like I said, going back to 1 Kings, the 8th chapter, the 41st verse, when King Solomon prayed for these particular strangers, it was talking about Israelites that were going to become strange in the future. That's why I said, who are not of thy people Israel. What did it say in Hosea, the 1st chapter? That I will call them my people, which were not called my people. Who was he speaking to? Israel. He told Hosea to name those Israelites Lo Ami, or La'a'imya, not my people. Alright? Now, this is the book of Jeremiah 2:20. It says, for of old time I have broken thy yoke. This is the Most High speaking to Israel. Alright? And burst thy bands. And thou saidest, I will not transgress. When upon every high hill and under every green tree thou wanderest playing the harlot. Yet I had planted thee a noble vine, wholly a right seed. How then art thou turned into the degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me? And what do you have there for the word strange? Nakarya, which is strange. So the Most High saying, how did you make yourself strange? How did you become, I planted you, I did everything that I could do for you. I cultivated you, I planted you, I watered you, I watched over you, I made sure fruit grew on you, I made sure you were taken care of. It wasn't too hot, it wasn't too cold, you were fed, you know? How the hell did you become a strange, like a strange, a plant of a strange vine unto me? Why? Because they went into the other nations, took on their customs, and became strange. You know, their actual custom, they put them off. Some of them stopped circumcising their children. Some of them started shaving their beard, didn't wear their beard. You know, some of them started doing all the customs and manners of the heathen, bowing down to the gods of the other nations. You know, dressing like the other nations. You know, learning the language, acting like, just basically acting like the other people of the other nations. That's why they became strange, because the Most High had set us up to be a holy people above all people that are upon the face of the earth. And he separated us from them. Why? Because he didn't want us to become like those nations. You know, even though it goes deeper than that, because the Most High is the one that actually made us to go off. Like it tells you in the book of Romans, the 8th chapter, that he did it. He made us to go off, not willingly, but by reason of the same that have subjected us unto hope. All right. So the bottom line is, that's what happened. Israel became strange, and it's right there. It's out of the Most High's own mouth. He's speaking to Israel. He said, yet I had planted thee a noble vine, wholly a right seed. How then art thou turned into the degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me? Do you got the word right there, Nakarya? Well, how did you become that strange vine? You know, how did you turn into that vine after I planted you and made you a holy people, gave you the law, statutes, and commandments? So there you go. So when King Solomon prayed that prayer in 1 Kings the 8th chapter, he was talking about Israelites that would become strange later on. And let's continue. Zephaniah 1:18, and it shall come to pass in the day of the Lord's sacrifice that I will punish the princes and the king's children and all such as are clothed with strange apparel. What do you have there? Nakarya, strange apparel. What's that strange apparel? That's talking about taking on the customs of the other nations. Doesn't it say in Proverbs the 5th chapter, drink waters out of thine own cistern? What is your own cistern? Meaning your law, statutes, and commandments that the Most High gave to us. You know? And if you go into these other nations, them other nations are going to become a snare unto you. And it tells you that in the book of Leviticus. You know, that if you go into them other nations and do after the manner of their customs, the land where you are is going to spew you out, just like it spewed them other nations out for doing the abominations that they were doing. So you became strange unto the Most High, Israel. We all did at one point or another. And the word that's used there is what? Nakarya. Alright, now this is Romans 2:25. It says, for circumcision verily profiteth if thou keep the law. But if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision. So who's the circumcision? It tells you in Romans 3:1 that it's the Jews. You know, what prophet didn't have circumcision? You know, much every way, because chiefly unto them was committed the oracles of the Most High. So the Jews that were in Jerusalem, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, right? They were the circumcision. Why? Because the laws were given unto them. You know, just like at another time when the other tribes that were brought into the land of Assyria, they were given the laws. They were the circumcision, but then they became uncircumcised when they broke the laws. That's why the Lord allowed the Assyrians to come in and take our people out of that land. So it says, for circumcision verily profiteth if thou keep the law. But if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision. And that's plain. If you're a Jew, right, and if you keep the law, statutes, and commandments,